Hello, beautiful, beautiful, wonderful people. Thank you for always watching my videos. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button right away, and please hit the bell for notification, and please don't forget to share this video. Thank you so much. Come on, let's ride on. News have been going around earlier this week that the Federal Executive Council Chief Muhammadu Buhari is set to get a successor for Abba Kyari. And you know what? There has been a lot of speculations among the ministers, and they have been thinking of who is going to really replace the chief of staff, and all of them in that council, you know, the made up of cabinet ministers, are angling for one amongst them to emerge as the next chief of staff to the president. To the president, you know, in succession of the late Abba Kyari. You know, there have been reports that the reason the ministers are making this move is for the purpose of achieving better synergy. You know, and when we talk about better synergy, we'll talk about, you know, more people that could work together, that can achieve success together. Because there were statements from some of the ministers that it's believed that the chief of staff to the president from their fold will be able to fast track decision making and issues. And you know, the report was quoted by a top source as follows, and he said their argument is that it will enhance synergy between the president and his cabinet, since the ministers now report to the chief of staff. You know, one thing that emerges from this report is that it suggests that ministers were not altogether satisfied with the way things went under the late chief of staff. Of course, no functionary can be scored 100%, but you know, the minister's current disposition raises further skepticism over the performance of the late Abba Kyari, on whom many Nigerians have written several testimonials, both good and bad, you know, terrible, all kinds of testimonials were written about him, you know, a fortnight ago. You know, when we talk about synergies, it is an extra energy, power and success that is achieved by, you know, more than two persons or even more, or a group of companies working together instead of, you know, working on their own. So when the ministers say that there is need for better synergy, it suggests that there were some lacuna when the late Abba Kyari held sway. You know, of course, no system is perfect or even error proof, and it is said there's always room for improvement. But notice that the source who said this thing, report in question, underscored the fact that the ministers now report to the chief of staff. Therefore, for the ministers to crave to have one from amongst them appointed chief of staff suggests that they might not even have been particularly satisfied with the way the former chief of staff have treated them. So in other words, ministers had expected a better or more satisfactory handling of that arrangement than might have been the case of the late chief of staff to President Muhammadu Buhari, who had a pre-inaugural retreat following his re-election on Tuesday, August 20 in 2019. So he told his then incoming ministers that they will pass through his chief of staff to be able to get to him in terms of coordination. So you can imagine when everybody has to go under the chief of staff to get to the president, even as ministers are even supposed to, you know, sometimes report directly to him, and kindly ensure, you know, he said to them that he should kindly ensure that all submission for his attention or meeting requests be channeled through the chief of staff, while all Federal Executive Council matters be coordinated through the secretary to the government of the federation, that's the SGF. The president has stated in the address he made. So the following day, Wednesday, August 21, at that inauguration proper, the president repeated the same directive. That means he didn't make any mistake saying all of that. So, and you know, when he said, as I said, the statement he made was, he said, as I said yesterday, in terms of coordinating communication, kindly ensure that all submissions from our attention or meeting requests be channeled through the chief of staff, while all Federal Executive Council matter be coordinated through the secretary to the government of the federation in order to speed up the process of decision making. Notice that in that later address, the president added, in order to speed up the process of decision making. Now the question is, was that being achieved under the late chief of staff? The answer to this question might be underlying factor behind the current craves by the ministers. So you can imagine There's no record on how the ministers reacted to that directive. Of course, nobody will be allowed to, make any kind of reaction, because they were just newly appointed and even yet to be appointed at that point in time. So even though it could have amounted to sheer madness for any of them to protest openly, but not a few Nigerians expressed displeasure at the president's decision, when most people do not even know who he was. So how would they express any displeasure? He was accused of abdicating responsibility of making Abba Kyari de facto prime minister and of reducing the ministers to clerical aides of the chief of staff amid other insinuations. A well-known critic of the administration and ex-aide of President Goodluck Jonathan, Reno Omokri, even went sarcastic. Omokri said that the president decided to avoid the ministers because some of them were on the debtors list of the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, while some were being investigated by the Economic and Financial Crimes, that is EFCC. Omokri tweeted that, "I can't really blame General Muhammadu Buhari asking his ministers to pass through Abba Kyari. If they needed anything, even you, would you like to associate with men who are among those owing AMCON 5 trillion naira, who have cases with the EFCC, so cases of corruption and all of that." He said, but all of those who reacted, the fellow that would appear to have been vindicated, given the president's circumstances, his elder statesman and member of the Arewa Consultative Forum, Alhaji Tanko Yasaya had been reported as saying that he did not even expect any miracle to happen under the arraignment, but in place by the president. Our experience is that ministers will line up in the office of the chief of staff even to see him, let alone to see the president. If we continue like that, I don't expect any miracle to happen. Yakasi had been quoted saying all of this, so they've begun to show their displeasure on how they've been treated by the late chief of staff. So if that so there has been speculation that they should speed up whoever is going to come up, and it should be among the ministers, so that most of them that already knows themselves, they will not have to pass through what they had to pass through in the hands of the former chief of staff, that is Abba Kyari. So he said if that come to pass, that one of them would be picked, that it could appear that the minister succeeded, but not necessarily because the president acceded to their request, but simply because he wants another core loyalist for the position. But once there is a new chief of staff, would cease to be a minister, and even though the camaraderie might still exist, the relationship between him and the remaining ministers may never be the same as before. Given the nuance of the presidential politics, the new chief of staff, the ex-minister, will be more protective of the president's personal official interest than he would of his former colleagues. President Muhammadu Buhari, in his tribute to his late chief of staff, he said, "My loyal friend and a compatriot for 42 years. He further said, "Madam Kyari was very best of us. He was made of the stuff that makes Nigeria great." The president also testified as follows: working without fail, seven days each day, and all the week is active. He acted forcefully as a crucial gatekeeper to the presidency, ensuring that no one, whether minister or governor, had access beyond another, and all those representing and serving our country were treated equally. He made clear his person and his practice always that every Nigerian, regardless of faith, family, fortune, or frailty, was heard and is treated respectfully and the same. He wrote a lot about him. That is to show how he really loved the former chief of staff. But it is not in his hands right now. Though it is in his hands to pick his next ministers, but the ministers are actually craving for someone that they can actually approach, that they can have a better approach with. So in my view, the minister's speculations further heighten the fear and anxieties among Nigerians over the issues of the usurpation of power in the Nigerian presidency. But the matter is not as simple as that. Addressing it will require a whole gamut of issues beyond the peculiar idiosyncrasies of a particular office holder. So let us wait and see and see the next person that will be picked as chief of staff. You have heard it all. If you have your comment, please don't forget to drop your comment in the comment section. And please, if you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button right away and give this video a thumbs up. Please drop your likes in the thumbs up, and also please do not forget to turn on the notification bell for you to get notified anytime we drop a new video. Thank you very much for listening. I love you. Bye bye.